We're having fish head curry in Johor Bahru. This is Untethered. I'm Wesley Green.
I'm Erica Baker.
Welcome, Erica.
Hi.
Yuri said he might be joining us today, but it's a work day for him, so it's only if he can hop on lunch. So if he shows up, great. If he doesn't, that's fine too. Erica, how you doing today?
I'm good. How are you doing? You're about to eat some fish head curry.
I am. I got here way early. The first time it's ever happened for a stream. I got here way early, and there was a line outside, and I was like, well, that's, I'm going to be standing in line for most of the episode, so I went ahead and got in line, and they were so fast that I'm already here, and my food has been here for 10 minutes, and I'm sure people are staring at me going, why don't you eat that food so we can eat? So I'm going to oblige them and eat this food. I'm going to show you what I got. It's fish head curry, of course. And I also got a sugarcane drink, which is really nice. They had that here. I feel like I need to move the camera closer to the curry because I want you guys to see it. Actually, it looks really good. Okay, now I can't see the camera because it's pointed straight down, but I want to explore this dish. Let me know if you're not seeing what I'm showing you. There's fish. Okay, great. I like that. We see fins. That's good. I don't know what this stuff is. I wonder if it's fish skins that are fried. I'm going to give it a try and see. Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's fried fish skins. So that's good. It's really good. It's a good curry delivery system. Anytime you're having curry, it's the meat and everything is just a curry delivery system. Where the flavor is. Oh, okay. Here's fish head. Oh, there he is. So a lot of most of the flavor in more than one animal is in the head. There's so much going on in there, I guess. Trying to be flavor. So are you seeing that?
Oh, yep.
And there's fish lips. You make fun of that shark with lips, but those are fish lips right there. If it looks good on him, he's ready for
me to make that fish head sing.
What's a good song for the fish head?
I mean, I was just gonna go with the Michigan J Frog. Hello, my baby. Hello, my darling.
I think he would fall apart. These are pretty well cooked. He's not holding together well right now. He's certainly not when I.
Neither are we, fish. Same
No.
in the US.
He could be an American. Those fried fish skins are really good. So we're just going to leave it there and let the cord get food all over it. We are at the restaurant. It's kind of famous here. You know, the theme, last night we were at a mall, the theme here in Johor Bahru is it's a suburb. That has been true almost everywhere we went. And for the fish head curry, which is, again, probably the most famous dish here, it's actually not from here. It's from Singapore. And in future, remind me to do these little tickers. I've got them all written up for every episode. Last night I just totally forgot to click it.
Oh, I see.
You don't have to read them if you don't want to. They're just interesting bits at the bottom.
Oh, no, it's interesting. I love it.
Yeah.
Also, I like the fact that it was a guy named Gomez, like his last name's Gomez, but he's bringing Indian flavor to Malaysia. Like Malaysia is the mix. Like they got the mix of everything.
It really is. And that is kind of what I wanted to talk about this episode. Seems appropriate to fish head curry. But also just to Malaysia in general, which is, and I think I mentioned it like once before a while back, I guess I can center that more on me, which is, in America, we're taught that the melting pot is the right answer, right? Which is just another word for assimilation. And since the Borg, that's gotten a really bad rap. But for a while, I thought, if you know what assimilation is, it's not a bad thing, right? The concept is not. The concept is that we all want to be one people, one group. That was the goal in America, and that in order to do it, the new people in the culture should change to more match the culture, and the culture should change also a little bit to match them. So in other words, it's a blending. They're bringing something new to the culture, and the culture changes, and then they change a lot to match the culture. Kind of the idea of the melting pot, right?
Right.
And I thought for a long time, I thought that was the ideal. And then recently, in recent years, and in fact, even when I was in school, but I mean, more recent than the 19th century, we came up with the idea of the multiculture, right? We didn't, but I mean, scholars who studied this looked at different cultures and said, well, there's also this other option, which is the multiculture, the culture that just has a lot of different cultures in it, which Malaysia is, that is the example. They're the poster child for multiculture.
Oh, yeah.
This dish is Indian and Chinese brought together in one dish, and it's really famous and really good. Maybe I should hold off on the really good, but it's good so far. I'm liking it. But anyway, so that came along, and that is really the opposite of the idea of the melting pot, which has been the American ideal for so long. So I guess what I wanted to discuss with you and get your thoughts on it was, is one better than the other? Is it just two different options that they're both valid? Has one been a success and one been a failure?
I mean, I think it's successful where you are. I think it could be, or it is in certain areas in the U.S. to an extent, but the U.S. tends to eat up other cultures and then homogenize them and bastardize them without permission. Hence the cultural appropriation thing rather than sharing and appreciation. It's just, someone like Gwen Stefani wearing traditional Indian stuff and singing about she's a holla back girl. I don't know, random crap. But then there's people that really do respect it. I mean, if I can, I know there's other people like me that would respect other cultures and appreciate them without being cringy. But I think that Malaysia's done it really well with the blend of those cultures. And of course, they haven't seen so many white people. That's why, I thought it was hilarious when that woman thought that the other white guy was your brother. But that's just because they don't see a bunch of people there.
That's true, yeah. Well, today, I mean, they were a British colony, so they have that part of their history. Malacca and Singapore, Malacca, and Penang were the big colonial sites here. But now, how widespread actual British were in the rest of Malaysia, my guess is probably not very good.
And as of late, there's not a lot of them there because white people stay insulated in the West a lot, just pretty much. And then they just kind of dip their toes around the world to just go to resorts or see, kitschy things. Not all of them, not all white people, but no, you know what I mean? But,
hashtag not all white people.
Right. But almost. So.
Well, it's true. It's true.
Some people can't
When you go to in this part of the world, I cannot think of many former European colonies that are still populated by the European colonists in any amount. That's really not true even in Hong Kong. If there's anyone there of European ancestry who can trace their ancestors back to the original colonists, I'll buy them a Coke.
Now,
I would be very surprised.
I don't know the history of everything in general, but when the colonizers left, was it because they didn't want to be there anymore? They couldn't manage it there. They had other conquests or something. Why are they not there? Because I don't know.
That's a good question. Well, I've not found any explanation of that either. In fact, I don't even see much that recognizes it. It's just obviously true. If you go to Hong Kong, I've read that they're 92% Chinese. But most of the remaining 8% are, people who've moved there in their own lifetime. Or maybe even people who are just residents that are there for business, not even, long term. And if you go there, you would get a higher number than 92. Mm-hmm. There are not a lot of foreigners. But about what you would expect in a very business-oriented place like Hong Kong. Like if you go into Central, you'll see a lot of foreigners. But I suspect most of them are not residents. And when you go outside of Central, you find out that most of the residents are definitely Chinese. But I'm not sure. I can't really give you the explanation of why that is, because I don't know what the percentage was during the colonial era. I don't know that this was. See, in the Western Hemisphere, things were a lot different. The Spanish actually went to large numbers of Spanish people from Spain went to the Spanish colonies. Large numbers of English actually came to the U.S. and Canada. The U.S. of course also got a large influx of Europeans in the 19th century, but that in the time difference between the colonization of the Western Hemisphere and the colonization of East Asia, that practice seemed to change. It wasn't so much the colonial powers sending their own people, more than a few administrators to the colonies. It was just the process of exerting control over the colony. That's what made it a colony.
Right, like an occupation, not when we
not settled.
Have just yeah.
That's exactly right. And that's two very different kinds of colonizing. Mm-hmm. And that alone may account for the difference, because the one in this part of the world or on this side of the world that I can think of that still has European descendants would be Australia and New Zealand. But they were set up, or at least Australia was set up as a penal colony. So the whole purpose was to send people there. Mm-hmm. And therefore they're there now. So it may just be that they never.
Eastern United States, we also got some of the toss away criminals and debtors over here. And I'm like,
in Georgia,
in Georgia and other southern. But when I was reading, I read it at a Dollar Tree kids coloring book, and it said that, and I was like, man, I really should have bought that coloring book, because I showed it to my dad. Like, Daddy, look at this thing, and he's like, wow, it's kind of deep for a kid's coloring book. Oh yeah. So, but that's what it is. We got some of the tossaways over here too. Makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Well,
oh yeah, I haven't asked about the curry now that you've been eating it this whole time. So is it really good, like so far, like the whole way now? Because it's like, I know you're like getting down.
Yeah, it's good. Good stuff. We gotta get the good meat off of this fish's head. Give up your goodies, fish head. Well, it also occurs to me now that I've done it this way, and I guess it's just you learn as you do these streams. I probably should have waited and gotten in line, because that's part of the whole experience. And then you could have seen how popular this place is, because it's crazy popular.
Locals love it, then you know it's good.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it is. There's a reason they're lining up like that. I would definitely say this is the place to come if you're coming to Johor Bahru. As we mentioned, it's a Singaporean dish, so if you're just coming to Singapore, I don't think I would cross the border for it. But if you're here in Johor Bahru, yeah, this is one of the better places I've eaten. It's definitely a reason it's so popular. And I was looking last night too when we were doing the mall episode in this area, because you can see from up there. This is the beginnings of a nice little town. This right here at the border. But it's just that because it's so suburbanized, it kind of dissipates immediately after you start moving away from this right here in the city center, because there's no real city.
Mm-hmm.
Cursed suburb. What are you gonna do? But I don't expect to do a lot of episodes in suburbs because I don't own a car. I don't keep a car in my luggage when I travel. And also, suburbs are generally not interesting. The most interesting thing about this place is it's the suburb of Singapore. It's a very unique situation. There are only 2 bridges, even today. Well, one that's causeway. There's one causeway and one bridge that connects Singapore to mainland Malaysia. Peninsula of Malaysia. And that creates a unique situation. The Singapore doesn't have any area to be a suburb. So you had to come across that one bridge, and then you actually get something that looks kind of like a city right here on the other side of the causeway in Johor Bahru. But then, of course, it just immediately turns into suburb once you walk outside of this area or go outside of this area on a bus. And yeah, it's a unique suburb. I think it's worth looking at. I think this is a place I would have put on the list, even if we weren't just here because we were, trying to stay someplace cheap while we wait on the flight.
And
this is a genuine.
Which area is this one? This is the
we were right next to the City Square Mall where we were last night.
Yeah, let me see. Where's the thing at? Because you're down a street of there's a little bit of more hip stuff than compared to the last place you're at, because you were in the industrial area.
Yeah. Are you looking at Google Maps?
Yeah.
Do you want to share your screen?
Let me close out the millions of tabs I have. I cannot believe I have so many tabs open. I guess everybody can know what I'm going to buy at the Home Depot.
You can always open a separate Chrome.
I could do the incognito thing too. Be all secretive. I'm a spy. Okay, hold on. Let me.
Spy in the House of Fish Sheds.
That really sounds like it would be just like an anime, just for no reason. Okay. Share. Okay, let me. Oh, okay. There's WhatsApp. Let me get all that off there. Share. Okay, let me do it. My internet is unruly. Okay, is it doing?
Oh, you know what? It doesn't bleep whenever you share, so I have to look.
Oh, okay. That's it. Is that me? Am I showing? Okay, so here's Google. Here's Google. I was just looking at the from the hotel where you are, because when I was looking at the pictures of everything down there, is that restaurant still below you there, or is it gone?
What restaurant below me? It's actually a phone repair shop now. That street is full of restaurants.
Right. I was just like, I love the replacements of anything in Southeast Asia. Everywhere you've been, they're like, this was a bus stop, and now it's a fruit stand.
Enjoy.
But yeah, I was trying to figure out, since of course I should have figured this out a long time ago, when I was talking to the taxi driver on his way to you, he was asking me, is it this area or that area? And I was like, okay, this is exactly where he is, but I know that something, like, you see how it says Taman Sutera Utama.
Let's review that, since we didn't capture that in an episode. I got to the bus stop close to a hotel, but it was still a good like 750-meter walk. It wasn't a long walk at all, but my luggage is just about to fall apart, and there were no sidewalks, and I didn't want to drag the luggage along the highway, so I'm like, I'm just going to get a Grab, the ride-sharing app here. So I called the Grab. I got on the Grab app, and they tried to charge me a fee because they left me in the street in the rain the last ride, and the app stopped working, and I couldn't contact the driver, and so I ended up, I don't remember what I ended up doing, riding the train, I think.
Yeah, but
and they were like, "Oh, you didn't show up, so we're going to charge you." So I was like, "I'm not using Grab." Yep. So I refused to use Grab, and we started hunting for a real a taxi service somewhere in the area, and it was so hard to find. And Erica ended up finding it online and contacting me via WhatsApp and sending them to my location.
That was so cool, though. I was like, wow, it would be dangerous if I had any kind of like real money. Now I know that a lot of people there, not just for the taxi service, but there's a lot of just shopping you do through WhatsApp, and you contact them that way. And because the printing place that you went to, or there were a lot of stores that I was contacting and trying to find the shoes that we look for, but then I found them at that Bata store. But I was like, oh my gosh, I just shopped in Malaysia. Well, actually, was that in Singapore when you got the shoes, or was it Malaysia?
I feel like we got them in Malaysia. Boy, I can't remember where I was. Feels like that was Johor Bahru. I just don't remember which time or which mall.
I think it was that Eon Bukit. I think it was that mall.
All right.
The Bukit Indah. See, that's what I was trying to find out, is because the guy was referring to, the cabbie guy was referring to what area you were in. And I'm like, I don't know what these words mean. I know that all I know is that Jalan means through, or like an expressway kind of a thing. It means like a way through. So it's like a road, right? But then I don't know what the other things mean, but I know that it's an area. And I was thinking, is it kind of like when you're in Atlanta and there's the different little areas, you know what I mean? And that's what they're asking.
Yeah, like a neighborhood.
Yeah, district. Like the Virginia Highlands area, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Like yeah.
But I was like, yes, maybe that's where he is. I was like, I just sent him the exact location. I was like, can you find it? And he said, yep, and he did.
Yeah. But they'll ask for an address, and I just send the map. I'm like, address is on the map, and also you can just click on the map, which you ought to be doing.
Right.
I mean, I don't even like taking regular cabs anymore because they make you do all the work. The last one I took when I was out in Desaru, the guy was like, well, you'll have to pull it up on your phone. And I was like, not that it's that big of a deal, but you are the cab driver. Aren't you supposed to be doing this? They don't know where anything is at. They can't use their phone to find it. I'm just like,
wait, why? Why they can't or they won't? Because what is up with that? That's weird.
He was old. He was an old guy.
Oh, that's okay.
I got the impression he just didn't know. He was just like, I don't know what all this is.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense, because the delivery guy that just delivered something last night, or when I ordered snacks at 3 a.m. from the place thinking they wouldn't bring it, but that old guy did. I was asking him for his Cash App, and he was like, "Well, they just got me hooked up on this thing," and I was like, "Uh-oh." And he goes, "I don't know how it works." And I was like, let me give you my Cash App, and then you have them. I don't know who they are. I'm guessing his kids probably. I was like, have them contact me, and I'll give you more of a tip, since you're having to drive, out of the way back again to get the stuff and blah, blah, blah. He was so nice, though. He goes, yeah, I don't understand some of this stuff. And I was like, okay. So, yeah, it makes sense. That older guy was like, nah, pick it up on your phone. Was he listening to the directions, or was he having you navigate?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I just put the directions on, loud.
Right.
Turn up the volume.
That's what I have Jacob do on his phone when I'm driving. But that's also my kid. I'm not a cabbie.
You're not a cabbie.
But that's another thing about Malaysia. I've noticed that people are very personable, and it's almost like they know you, but they don't know you. I can't explain it. You know what I mean? Like they're like, hey, I'm already familiar with you. This is how things are going to be. Blah blah blah. What's up? And
I don't mean to bring it full circle here, but that is part of like what the thing you would not expect out of the multicultural, or that's what I didn't expect. I thought people would be so insular because of the multiple cultures here that you wouldn't get a lot of interaction or a lot of national identity. And instead, what I found was when I go into a Chinese restaurant and written in Chinese, and the people there are Chinese, and the dishes look Chinese, and I'm asked, where this dish is from, and where, what part of China does this come from? He says Malaysia. He says, I'm Malaysian. This is Malaysian food.
Right, because they have their own take on it, I think, too. I remember reading about something that you were eating at one of the places, and just even the different areas have their own type of food. Like the Johor area, there's this one specific fish soup thing that I was looking at. It wasn't the curry, but it was this other, I was just reading some random reviews. And, I went in some rabbit hole of reviews on something when I was looking at that Pizza Hut thing and looking at the ingredients. So it was like, each little district there has their own take on something. And it's Malaysian, but it is from the other influences. So I thought that's neat.
Do you know what I'm eating? I don't know what this is.
Oh, wait. Oh, I was still sharing. Here, hold on.
Oh, you were sharing. Sorry. I didn't even think about the fact that my layout was not the main thing.
Up there, so okay. What? Oh, here, hold it still for 1 second.
I can't get the camera to focus on it.
Oh, here, pull it a little bit closer to you.
Me?
Yeah. Okay, now turn it to the side. What is that?
I think it's an eyeball.
That'd be a big old fish eyeball if that's an eyeball. Is it? Does it
not.
pop in your mouth? No? What is it?
Oh, I dropped it. All our evidence is gone. I don't know what it was.
Was it chewy?
It was soft on the outside with a hard center.
Red.
Oh, here it is. Good Lord, this doesn't help at all.
What?
That was at the center.
And it's a perfect ball, is it not? That's a little...
Yeah. It's a sphere.
What?
It could be out of the plants. Maybe it's not from the fish.
Oh, what plant's in it?
We got green beans and cabbage, okra. I think that's it. I thought there was one other, but I can't find it.
Huh.
There's several vegetables cooked with it.
Yeah, it could be anything then.
Yeah,
that was definitely plant-based. Yeah, because eyes are a lot smaller.
Well, also they're liquid inside.
Yeah,
so
I was going to say if it popped.
Popped.
Yeah, if it popped, it would be an eye.
It did not. That's what I expected to happen. Oh, I was going to show you fish jaw, then I dropped it.
No.
Well, anyway. But yeah, so Malaysia has really been a surprise for me. I even having had no expectations when I got here, really. And I just wanted to mention for the people, like this idea of because I've always been sold on assimilation. I always thought, yeah, that's the right answer. Everybody should try and become one people. And the goal from the 19th century in the U.S. was to create a nation that had national identity, and they thought the way to do that was for people to assimilate. But I see here, not really necessary. There's national pride and there's state pride. People always fly their state flag right next to the national flag, and there's pride in culture, and there's tons of intermingling. Like Chinese people in Indian restaurants, Indian people in Chinese restaurants. there is not some barrier between each, culture. Everybody seems to be getting. I'm sure they have problems. I don't want to paint too rosy a picture, but it's not the sort of walled off society that I thought you're going to get from a multicultural.
And outside of the South, it is more of a blend of everything here. With the typical jerks. You know what I'm saying? But like, there's definitely. I guess if you go somewhere just outside of here, if you go towards Atlanta, Norcross area too, especially, like they have a lot of different Asian cultures there. And
it may be worth mentioning, I have been in some of the biggest cities and wealthier areas in the country. I didn't really spend much time outside of that, but when I went to Desaru, which was a very small town, it seemed to be the same. Everybody seemed to be getting along, and people were delighted and intrigued that I was there.
Oh yeah, small town there is different from hillbilly small town here, where it's like fearful and mean.
Well, also business seemed to be better there. America's been killing it small towns for generations now, but that place, one of the places I ate was I'm reluctant to call it a restaurant because I would talk to them for a while and they're like, yeah, we want to start a restaurant. It was just a couple that had their little tent out in a parking lot, and they had their food that they had prepared on like folding tables on warmers, which is typical street food. Maybe this is always what's going on. And they had it for really cheap, and it was really good. It was home cooked, and they were in front of an empty storefront.
Oh,
and they kept going in and.
We have that here, but it's it's heavily regulated, and people get in front of. Well, yeah, there was that old Mexican restaurant, and it had shut down, and people started putting not really actual food trucks, but they'd have like smokers out there, and they started selling food outside of there. And this is mainly Black families that were doing it. And then there was just one white family that did it, and it was a barbecue thing, but it was a lot of barbecue because people love barbecue here. But now what you also have in the hood is supposedly the hood, but what Cartersville hood would be, which is not actually the hood. It's just it's just a little bit more Black folks than not, and they always have their home cooked foods, and they sell plates online now. It used to be they put up a sign outside, and we'd go and buy like fried fish, ribs, and all the sides like mac and cheese and stuff like that. So they still do it, but the problem is it's heavily regulated, so they can only do it ever so often, because they'll get yoinked by the cops and tell them, oh, you can't do this,
that's really interesting. We're always hearing from the right in the U.S. how regulations are bad. And the problem is that in a lot of situations, not all, but in a lot of situations, I agree with them. But who controls the South more than Republicans, the conservative party? Right. And yet it's just as bad as anywhere.
What they mean is regulations are bad for large corporations, but it's all okay for us poor folks. And that's what they really mean. And they've tricked their constituency into believing that also. So there you go. Now, of course, regulations are good for the fact that if you're going to eat someone's food, you better, it's a buyer beware.
Well, I wanted to keep it from being poisoned.
Right. Like you can't, there's a lot of people here that I would not trust to eat their food, but I'm just saying, if I'm looking at you and if your ribs are cooked and your fish is cooked and everything, I don't know if I'd trust a lot of people's dairy products and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I've eaten them, so I can't say anything. But usually that you're just allowed to, I was just looking that up. You're allowed to sell anything that doesn't have a potential to be breeding ground for bacteria and cause food poisoning.
Right.
But that's just because if one person does it here, though, it would be taken advantage of, and to the extent of where it would be bastardized like everything else gets done here. Not to be a downer about it, but that's what happens. That's why it just needs to stay in the hood, because that's the only way it's pure.
Keep it pure. Well, I gotta say, that was really good, by the way.
Yeah.
I gotta say, I feel like in Asia in general, there's less regulations on food safety and stuff. But I don't know that that's true here in Malaysia. We've talked about how Malaysia is kind of not. It's not like Cambodia or Thailand. There's a bit more money in circulation here.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that goes along with heavy regulations, to be honest. I wish they would let me pay from the table, but I don't think they do. Oh, well, I really need to switch my mask. It's kind of nasty.
Oh, yeah. I can't tell. I'm just like, just switch
good.
it.
Oh, hi. Yeah, it's just one person and a drink.
One rice and one drink. 35.
Oh, they do the rice costs extra. Yeah, 50. Okay.
Live streaming.
Yeah. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Have a nice day.
You too. Have a good one. Thank you. Bye-bye. Well, I see why this place is famous.
Oh.
Oh, it's pointed in the wrong direction. I thought I was showing you the room. I forgot I had the camera pointed towards me. That's a professional live streamer right there. Was I showing my shot of my crotch while I paid? Oh, it's such a nice breeze today. Let me tell you what, this is probably going to be the least stressful week I've had in a while, because I'm only thinking about the flight on Tuesday. As long as I make that, I'm good. Well, have we checked out what's up with getting into the U.S.?
I am. Well, I looked at the Los Angeles site. So it's pretty much the same as what you've seen in the other countries. You know, you'll have to have you have all your documentation. Okay. So what they're going to need from you where you're at in Saipan, your address and stuff.
Right. That's the only thing I'm missing. I actually meant the COVID rules to get into the U.S.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's probably nothing here. Hold on. Let me look. It's probably something, actually, even though it's very hypocritical. But let's find it. Hold on.
I have mixed feelings on it because
you don't have to spend the money to do it. That's like,
well, I don't. Yeah, that's true. But it's not even that. That's just a personal inconvenience. I'm okay with the fact that I have to do it. It's the fact that within the country, there's like no rules. Everybody's looking each other's face and spreading as much as possible. And the fact that, well, the cases are actually on the rise now. I was saying, cases are down, but they're going to go up again because there's no mitigation efforts.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're already going up again. So I have to stop saying that and say their cases are going up, which is why people should take, if people would just take some minor precautions now, it would probably stop the spread, but people just won't do it. And then when you try and, as a citizen, you want to fly to the country. I mean, I want to fly to Saipan. I don't want to fly to the U.S., but I want to go. And they're like, well, you've got to take a test to get in. And also, which I don't even know why they're worried about that. There's more inside the country than there is outside. But at the same time, I do want them to take some precautions. It's just like the first precaution they take is for me. I'm the only one that's doing anything in this scenario to stop the spread. I had to go get the test, and then I get there, and it spread like wildfire.
Right. I mean,
now, to be honest, if this
simple mask, that's all people really need to do. That, and not licking doorknobs and being like, I can't believe I got it after I went into this crowded building with an airborne virus. But whatever.
Whatever.
It is what it is. Okay. Quarantine requirements to enter Northern Mariana Islands. That's what we want to know, right?
Yeah.
That's what
right.
it is. International travel.
And I could understand if they had stronger rules. In fact, I think they should, because they don't have a lot of the virus, so they can still take efforts to keep it from spreading. But anyway, go ahead with what you're saying.
From the end of May. So let's see. Health declaration form. You know about all those. Okay, to need to comply with all requirements. Okay. As well, the government will enroll travelers in the Sarah Alert system. The system will be in constant communication with travelers in case they have coronavirus symptoms during their stay. Do I need to quarantine? You do not need to quarantine, of course. If you can provide a COVID vaccine certificate. And let's see. Do I need the vaccine or vaccination certificate to enter? Yes. Let's see. All who approved vaccines are accepted. The last dose must have been received at least 14 days before traveling. That's to make sure it's in your system properly for 2 weeks, and then you're good. Okay, so since information may change quickly, follow the travel updates. Haha, so funny. Or contact your local embassy so they can be completely useless. Okay, let me see. How do I know the COVID-19 test is valid? Yeah, we know it is. So, okay, the Northern Mariana Island health authorities have specific requirements for COVID-19 test travelers show upon arrival. The test must say the name of the traveler, and this name must be the same. Test must be dated a maximum of 24 hours before the trip. The process must be a PCR. The results need to be in English. And now, this is going to go on the health declaration form. So they do want a PCR test to go there. Well, I could see that for the island, at least anyway. Children under 2, travelers with proof of recovery within 90 days, travelers coming from... God, this is so funny. Okay, listen. Travelers coming from the USA, Puerto Rico, Guam, U.S. Virgin Islands, American Samoa, and United States minor outlying islands, because there's a lot of little ones, are exempted from testing requirements.
That's exactly who should be taking the test.
Oh my God.
That's the worst. So that would be my mixed feelings. Like, I wanted to do something, but it seems like it's only being put on me.
Right.
And everyone else in the country is just doing whatever.
Wow.
That's annoying.
Wowza. Okay, so what are the requirements to obtain the declaration form? You must give personal and trip information, passport within a 6-month validity after arrival, valid email address, payment methods, pay for ivisa.com professional service with a credit, debit card, or a PayPal account, negative COVID-19 test. And then it's like, if you don't have it, you need to comply with quarantine requirements. I'm like, that doesn't happen here. But at least it is the islands. I could see them doing that there. But I mean, just the fact that they're like, well, if you're from the U.S., you can just, continental United States, you could just come over here and your entry. Why
would there be a problem?
You just need to lick a doorknob upon entry. It's just like signing the book at Ellis Island, except for it's just COVID. It's all good. What are the processing time of fees? Okay. The iVisa can process your health declaration form with the next option: standard processing, pay the minimum fee of $20 and receive your document in 7 days. Rush processing in 5 is the price of $35. Now get this, if you're in a rush, then only wait for 3 days for a US $60 fee. So if your flight, when is your flight? So you could probably do the 5-day for $35 then, because that's if you had to do that, right? The iVisa health declaration form, it costs for, if you get it within 5 days, well, 7 days from now is the exact 21st. So you definitely want to do it in the 5-day thing and have it before you do the thing. So rush processing is 5 days, $35. And it
Oh, we
says,
may have to go over that again after the stream. This
Oh,
is something new on me. I don't know what's going on.
oh, it's there. They charge you either 20, 35, or 60 to do their health declaration form. And you have to do an online
They
application.
charge you money to do the health declaration form?
Yep. Yep.
God, I hate that fucking country.
You,
Jesus, fucking everything you do. I went to Shanghai years ago. I needed to get a stamp on a piece of paper. I didn't need the personal signature of the damn ambassador. I just needed a stamp on a piece of paper to verify that, because they change your passport number when you have to, when your passport expires. Most countries, in fact, everybody I talked to when I was there in Shenzhou, China, Britain, they don't change your passport number. That's permanent. That's an ID number, so it's permanent. The U.S. changes your passport number, and then they charge you for it. And China wanted proof that that I was the same person, but my passports were the same, and it was just a simple, slip of paper that said this passport was reissued with this new number, and it had to be stamped by the consulate. And they charged $50 to put the stamp on it.
Oh, that sounds like here.
Yeah.
Well,
nobody. I've had to do a health declaration form everywhere I go. Nobody charges money for it. It's just you declaring that you're.
Because they're charging for the processing, for someone to look at it and go, "Yep, that's it."
Yeah, because the U.S. government is really short on cash. They've got to charge for processing. What the hell are taxes for? I mean, I'm not paying any taxes.
They wouldn't be short on cash if they'd stop giving gobs of money to billionaires and actually help the real citizens. Like, I'm just like, whatever. But they're like, here, give us this. They want to nickel and dime you and then give like Bezos bailouts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. They're charging money for a health declaration form. What a bunch of assholes.
Well, this whole thing right here, you can get to all of it through it too. So this page that I found, it should be able to. Oh my God, I was outside for like 2 seconds, and the pollen is like trying to murder me. I'm like, rah, 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 rah.
The lighting's not great on me, but I want people to see what the town in Johor Bahru looks like. We're getting kind of a shot of it back there.
Ooh.
So I'm standing here in the bad lighting. But it's pretty good. In fact, I was just about to sign off, but since we're chatting about this, let me go ahead and flip the camera around so I can show you guys. That's not what I wanted. What's happening? Everything's wrong. You click the wrong thing. You're like, what's happening? All right. Beautiful, beautiful. It's a lovely little, central part of the city. I don't think many people live here because, again, suburban, very suburbanized. But it's too bad because there's actually plenty of space here, and it's a nice area. They've really, made this what would be a downtown in another city. They've made it nice. This little river that flows through it. They've got a nice walkway on either side, and it's the malls are actually not far from here if you like that kind of thing, and it's lined with shops and restaurants, and it's really nice.
Yeah, it's pretty out there.
It's very pretty. There's not many people out here. And again, as I said, it's kind of like an American city. The downtown is just irrevocably gone because they've put so much money into developing the outlying areas. And then the city doesn't know what to do, so they spend tons of money sprucing up a street like this and do a really nice job, and then nobody comes because nobody lives here. Unfortunate. That's why strange situations like Singapore and Hong Kong are probably to the advantage of those cities because there's no outlying area to go to, or not much. So people have to live in the city, and that forces the city to, actually accommodate people, which makes it a nice place to be. This is nice, except for the fact that the space where businesses would be are not open. There's some, like I said, there's some restaurants and shops, and there are. It's nice, but as you can see, they're fairly empty. Again, the curse of a suburb. The whole reason the suburb is there is because it has close proximity to the city, but as soon as people move out to it, the city stops being a nice place to be, so you might as well have just moved out to the countryside. If you're going to leave the city, there's really two choices: the country or the city. People who try and choose both end up, well, destroying both, because the suburbs are also usually built on farmland that used to be the countryside.
Oh, look at that. Look at
It's a nice little mural, isn't it? The southern gateway to peninsular Malaysia.
Huh.
Yeah, that's what this is. Pretty. Actually, sure, how close we are, we might be able to get to. Oh, we're really close. If I can get across that road, let's go try it. Sorry, I was all ready to end the stream, and I'm like, let's tag on a few more minutes. So this is how close we are, just in this casual walk, and I wasn't really even intending to do this, but it's just so close, I can see it. It's just so close. But the question is, can I get over there? What I'm avoiding saying here is Singapore. We're close enough you can see Singapore across the water. That's if we can get to the water.
Oh, but you have to cross over that traffic that's going a little bit.
It's only 16 short lanes of traffic to get there.
Oh my gosh. Is there like not a crosswalk? And they're like, no.
Crosswalk. You're hilarious. No, I thought, like, I hate to insult them, but there's a lot of ways in which Malaysia is like the U.S. in development. Anyway, we were talking about culturally, there's a big difference, but for development-wise, we talked about it. It's an oil-producing nation that also makes its own automobiles. So it has those two big influences on development, and it has developed much like the U.S. Not exactly. There's some things that are a little better here, done a little bit better. You can see that in Johor, like in the area that I'm staying in.
You're doing a Frogger game right here.
Well, actually, left turner had them all held up. So,
ooh, good. I bet they're like curses. Okay.
Well, I don't think people here, or I don't get the feeling that people here are as eager, and you know how Americans get behind the wheel and they're immediately like, I will murder anyone who causes me to briefly pause while driving.
Right, because they're taking out all of their aggression that they should have towards their government and fellow citizens in other ways, and they're doing it on the road.
Right. Yeah. Whatever the reason, people here don't seem as angry, and people they are quick to stop when you're trying to cross. Only when it's like a big 3 or more lanes like that do they not. And understandably so, because it was kind of higher speed traffic. Yay, I don't even know if we're headed towards anything, but I just saw the opening and I was like, I gotta take it.
Does it say what that says below it? What is this little sign?
I can't tell you. I don't know if that's Arabic, to be honest.
I know, because I saw some Arabic on a sign on this other road when I was looking for a restaurant who knows when. It's just another random thing. But, oh, well.
There we go. Oh, this is cute. Jakarta is 920 kilometers in this direction.
Oh, that is cool. Look at that. Hey.
Dubai, 7,500 kilometers. Mecca, 7,200. London, 10,000. And Seoul, 4,600.
Cool.
That's cute. I'm really tempted to go. Well, Oh yeah, and it is a causeway. I was saying the other day, oh, it's a bridge, not a causeway, but that's definitely a causeway. I was in error. I crossed it several times and thought I was on a bridge.
Well,
Well,
look
I don't
at
know
you,
about you, but
Singapore. We're gonna see you again soon.
yeah, we will. Yep, that's Singapore across the water. Um, that's the the mess. I don't know if you could see how. Well, I don't have a zoom lens. Let's go for it. Let's use it. See, which camera do I want? Okay, is that helping? That is the mess of international border crossing that you have to go through to get back and forth to Singapore. There's a ton of people who commute, but boy, I would not want to have to do it. I couldn't believe how long I had to wait on the Malaysia side the other day. And I don't know if you can see the building. Well, yeah, it's okay. It's the main building you're seeing. That's one big building. That is the checkpoint on the Singapore side. Everything is automated and electronic. You lay the face page of your passport down on the scanner, and you're through in about 15 seconds. I'm exaggerating a little bit.
It's just getting there on that stretch right there.
All right, that's it. And then on the Malaysia side, though, everybody has to go through the Malaysia side too. It is maybe because they're so fast in Singapore. The Malaysia side is all done manually still, and it really backs up. And the crazy thing is, like, Malaysia is not a poor country by far, but I don't know what their motivation is for not automating it, but I suspect that most of the benefits of this relationship go to Singapore. Usually the wealthier central city is the one that gets the benefits of, at least the financial benefits of the suburb up here. So I'm guessing Malaysia altogether is like, yeah, we're not gonna improve this or put a lot of money into it because we're not seeing the benefits. And I don't know that's the case, but I suspect that. The other thing might just be that they're not seeing. I think there would be a ton of tourism benefits now that I've spent some time here. If they made it easy to cross back and forth. Well, that's me. Well, I guess we saw Singapore. That was really all we came over for. See if this is a good place to sit down.
And that cute little sign.
Cute little sign?
Yeah, that shows where all the, like, where Mecca and Dubai and everything.
Right.
It's an adorable sign. I like that.
I feel like if it were easier to get back and forth across, and people who want to come to Singapore to be tourists would gladly stay on this side for the reduced prices on the Johor side. That's how I would be pushing this town if I were in charge of, I don't know, pushing this town. But it would be so easy if it were like a train and you could just go through a quick automated process and hop on a train right here at the on this side of the border and then zip down to central Singapore. There'd be a ton of people that would come here and get their stay here in the hotel, and it would it would invariably increase tourism here too, because like we've said, there are things to do here. It's a suburb. Everything we focused on has been, it being a suburb like the mall or going out to a farm, but that's things to do. And also there's a lot of stuff, more touristy stuff that we didn't do, and you mentioned it. There's amusement parks here, Legoland is here, Euro something is here. This isn't a lot of stuff here because it's a place that Singaporeans go, I think, to play, because they got to get tired of those high prices too, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's really pretty though. What are they? What are they earning there to where they can do things there? I don't know.
Right. No, they are. I mean, it's undoubtedly the salaries are higher in Singapore anyway. So, but I can't imagine it doesn't feel a little good to earn a big salary there and then come across the border and spend. It's because as much as I've put out there that Malaysia is a fairly wealthy country, it's pretty darn well developed. I don't know where it falls on things like HDMI, but HDMI, that's not right. HDI. Yeah, HDI is what I would say. They're good. They just run the cable in, plug in the country. Got a great signal.
Oh my God. Maybe that's where that amusement park went. It was on a flash drive and someone lost it.
That's why we couldn't find it. They said, use HDMI, stop the flash drive. Keep losing the amusement park. Right. Well, I was trying to say it's a highly developed country, but that doesn't make it expensive. It's not expensive here. The only reason transportation is expensive is because you have to go so far. That again goes back to my old, old faithful complaint, which is suburbs. I hate suburbs. But Malaysia is highly suburbanized. So if you're going to stay in a place like Johor Bahru and you're going to travel around, you're going to be paying a lot for the cab to go these distances. And other than that, I mean, the cabs are cheap per mile. So if you're going a short distance, it's easy to get around in a cab. If you're buying something in a 7-Eleven, it's going to be a fraction of the cost it would be in the U.S. It's cheap in most ways, except for distances are long. In the whole country, when I took the trip from here all the way up to Langkawi, which is like spitting distance from the Thai border, that whole trip only took 20 hours. So it's not like the country is enormous. It's long. It's a peninsula. It's just that the development style of the cities it was the same on Penang. We were in Georgetown for a while and couldn't afford to stay there. Found a place I could afford, and it was a good hour outside of it was still on the island, but it was an hour outside of the actual city.
Mm-hmm.
So if I had the few times I had to take a cab there, it just choked me. I was like, God, Jesus. It was really expensive. Anywho.
That was experiencing the castle above
Georgetown. Shift and get in the sun because I couldn't hear you. Did that help? Can you hear me now?
Oh, yeah, I can hear you. I can hear the wind too. I can hear a swoosh swoosh.
Swoosh swoosh. Well, I want to find I've said this before, a version of this that has a dead cat on it because I do get out in the wind fairly often. We're right here on the water, so there's no way to avoid it. But anyway, I think it's time to wrap up the episode. We've seen Singapore. We've eaten fish head curry. Our next episode is going to be Friday. Do you remember what it is? Oh God, it's that mountain.
Oh no! I was like, oh, you say, and oh my God.
Well, it's going to be interesting. It's on my end. It's not close to it is close to where I'm staying, but it's even farther away from the city. So I'm afraid getting there is going to be a little difficult. It'll be a bus cab combo, and hopefully it won't be a fortune. But I want to do it because we're not coming back here. I think this is one place, maybe the first place we've done, where I can say I think we've seen it all, and it was a cool town, and I liked it. But I don't think if the show was enormously successful and had all the budget in the world, I don't think I'd come back. It's not an insult to just saying I think we've seen it, we've done it, and I wanted. So this is one last thing. Not last thing, but this is one thing I want to do before we go. We are getting close to the end because as you mentioned, we are 1 week from departure. All right. Well, Erica, I'm having a little trouble hearing you, so that's also a good reason to close out the. Oh, maybe this is actually the Johor Bahru is the better background. Huh? What do you think? So I'm going to remind all the people. Yeah, Erica, I cannot hear a word you're saying. Wow, I can tell you're talking, but you sound like a 1980s computer. Sorry. Now, I'm hoping that you're coming through clearly on the stream, but we'll know. We'll find out later. Anyway, to the people at home who are watching this in the future, because we got 0 viewers as live broadcast. But for the people watching in the future, check out the YouTube channel page. That's the best place to find all the information. At the top, on the banner at the top, it's got the links to my Instagram, my Twitter, the Patreon for the channel. If you want to support the channel and get some really cool merch, and hopefully when I get to Saipan, like maybe can get some of that merch sent to me so I can show you on the channel what you'd be getting. But anyway, that's the way you can check out the Patreon, and also my blog is on there, and hopefully I'll be making another post this week. I post pretty irregularly. I'm never good about posting regularly. Maybe no one is, but hopefully I'll get in a post this week. But that's where you can follow all of that stuff and check out whatever upcoming episodes are coming. I plan soon to put some more on for Saipan, because I'll be in Saipan. Whatever else happens, we'll be there. So hopefully we'll be able to get around the island and see some stuff while we're there. And Erica, is there anything else? 1980s computer, is there anything else?
Beep bop boop bop. No.
Oh, I can hear you so clearly now. Whatever that was wrong, it's fine now. All right, well, Erica, thanks so much for joining in. To the future viewers, thank you for joining, and enjoy the next video.
Jag är och man kommer då se personer som tar över. Jag är med sig man i rum. Men jag kan inte vara så det nog bättre. 4. Där är det. Jag klarar det själv från. Helvete. Personer som tar över. Jag är med sig själva i rum. Men jag kan inte vara så det nog bättre. 4. Lämna inte ut. Jag klarar det själv från. Helvete. Ja.